Hi, I'm Megan Johnson and welcome back to Instagram for Business. This is our second session, which is Instagram for Growth. So when you're looking to grow your account, the name of the game is engagement. Engagement is the key factor that's going to help your account to grow. So when you're thinking about this, you want to think about, you're not focusing on the likes. Likes aren't really important. Instagram doesn't look at likes on your photos anymore. In Canada, we've had it for about 6 months now where the likes don't even show up on how many are on your photo. Other countries are rolling this out. I would say about 50% of the countries now have that likes aren't focused. Instagram said that this was to stop people comparing, especially for impressionable teenagers. But really, I think it was a vanity metrics that doesn't really commute anymore. Nobody really cares. It doesn't make sense. So they just decided to get rid of it and stop people focusing on that number and focus more on the community engagement, as in comments and DMs and shares, that sort of an idea. So that's why likes are now obsolete. Don't worry about them. If you get them, that's great, but it doesn't really matter in this scheme of things. What really matters, again, is the comments, your DMs, your interactions on stories. So if you have a poll feature, comments, any sort of engagement bar, that's what really matters on your stories. People sharing your content is extremely important, and it's actually becoming more and more important as the time goes on. And having that really good relationship with your audience. So relationships are the key to Instagram. This is a social media outlet. So it's a social outlet. So you're trying to network and create that community engagement and that really connected feel. When you post, you're going to go back in just before you post or right as you're posting, and you're going to like any comments that you got on your last post. This is going to notify them to come and check you out. We talked about this in the first session. It's worth repeating. So when you are responding to comments on your most recent post, you're going to respond, but don't like them. A lot of people will automatically just like the comment and then respond back. Hold off liking that so that you can use it in that later time to really let people know that you have another post coming up. If you consistently do this with the same people, it's almost going to be like this trigger in their mind that, oh, she liked my comment, there must be something new up. So you can trigger that without them even really realizing it. You're also triggering yourself and the Instagram app to know that you are on there, you are engaging, and you are ready to get going and to boost this next post that you're doing. Growth hacking on the daily. So these are the things that you should be doing every single day, even if you're not posting, okay? So we talked about that you don't have to do a post every single day. In fact, for most people, it just doesn't make sense. You don't have enough content for that. You've got enough stuff going on. You don't need to create one every single day. But what you do need to do is be on that app every single day and engaging with people in order to grow. So you don't need to post every day to grow, but you do need to engage every day to grow. So the first thing that you're going to do is nurture your current audience. So what does this mean? This means that everybody who has followed you in the past 24 hours, this could be one person, this could be 10, this could be 100 people. You want to go in and you want to send them a DM. You want them to be, every single one should be a little bit different, so it's the same feel. So hey, thanks for joining my community. I'm really happy to have you here. Then think about what you can say to them that is something specific. So if you see their name in their profile, you can say their name. You can take a look at some of their past posts and see if there's anything that the two of you have in common. Maybe they commented when they followed you and left a comment that said something about wondering about one of your products or wondering about one of your services. Just send them that DM and say, hey, you had commented about this, or I see that you do this, or I see that your kids are involved in this, mine are too, I do this, whatever. Something that you guys have in common, something that you can comment about, or if you can answer a question that they've posed to you. And then the last thing would be if there's anything that you need or always here to help, that sort of an idea. So it's creating that basically first introduction. So think about that they have just walked into your store, they've started following you, so they walked into your store and you're literally turning to them and saying, hi, how are you today? This is that introduction. This is this first initial experience. So you can do this by text, which is great. You can also send them a voice message like this. This is specifically really, really helpful if you are a service-based business, because they're going to be working with you one-on-one. So it's really nice for them to get the sound of your voice, the way that you speak, the excitement behind it, who you are a little bit more. Because if let's say someone came to my account and they're working with me as a business coach, the tone of my voice and the way that I speak is extremely important, because if they're not a huge fan of my voice, and sadly this does happen, they maybe won't want to work with you. So having that, it also gives it that personal touch. It's taking it that one step further, and it's making you stand out from everyone else. If you go in there and send a message, a lot of people have sent a message. If you send them a voice message and you're specifically talking to them, they're going to remember you. And that's really important to move forward, is that they remember you. You also want to take a look at who has commented to you that day. Now, not everybody is on the app all the time. If you are, then you'll see them come throughout the day and you'll kind of respond to them when you see it. But if you're only going on once a day, basically any comments that you have gotten that day, you want to respond to them. Now, chances are, if you're here, your account isn't at 10,000, 100,000 followers. So chances are you have enough time to respond to every single one of those comments. So please do it. It is really important. Every single comment that you respond to is literally doubling your engagement score, which will push your feed and your posts out to so many more people. Instagram will really boost you because you're getting so much engagement. So you are not big enough to not take the time to do that. Take those few minutes and respond to everybody. It will make such a big difference. The second thing that you want to do after you have nurtured your current audience is you want to reach out to like-minded accounts. So search for keywords within your industry, and you want to interact with those accounts that you find. So people that are in your own industry, you want to reach out to them and build a community environment with them and really get to know them so that they know you. Let's say you're a service-based business and they're booked up. They might send some clients your way. You can also work on some collaborations with them. If they're a product-based business, maybe you guys can do some cross posts, which is really great. What you also want to do is find these accounts and you want to engage with their followers. Now, not just their followers, but the people that actually engage on their posts. So go into accounts that are very similar to yours and check out their most recent posts. See if there are any really interesting comments on there that you can then respond to and leave a thought-provoking comment to their audience. Now, the reason why I say to do it to people that have left comments is because you already know that they engage. So they're a highly active user on Instagram. So you're not just going to get somebody who's following you, maybe following you just to get you to follow them back, or liking pictures because they're just kind of like double tapping as they're scrolling through. You're actually getting people who are stopping and reading the post, especially if they've left a thought-provoking comment. That means that they have actually read the entire post, and those are the kind of followers that you want. So you want to reach out to people who are actually going to be active on your account. You also want to react to these people because they're your target audience. If this other account is very similar to yours and these people are commenting on their post, they're perfect for yours. So the more the merrier. Maybe they want to be on both of your accounts. And that works really well. The other thing you want to do on the daily is to reach out to new customers. So you want to get on their radar and introduce yourself. You can search hashtags that have your target audience inside of them. So anything that you think that someone would search for in order to find your product, and they would search for that would have your service involved in it. That's what you want to do. You want to comment on their posts, so go into their feed. What I find works even better is if you're going through and you're seeing these people and you see their profile photo and there's like a rainbow around it, that means they have a current story. So click on that and then you'll have one of their stories come up and you can respond to their story. Now, responding to that seems a lot less kind of spammy than going through and commenting on their posts. Because you're sending them a DM, it takes it that one step further into a little bit more intimate of a conversation, that you're not just throwing something up there that's like, cute, oh, nice pic, whatever. You're actually sending them something that is talking about what they're doing in their daily life. You can also react to some of their stories by if it's like a poll for a yes or no, or if it's a slider bar, put that in and then send them a message. So you're showing up in their DMs through their stories, and it's a lot more of an organic way of starting up a conversation. Once you build that relationship, so you've started to talk to certain people on their DMs through their stories, they're going to respond back to you. You guys have started up this whole conversation. This was a couple weeks ago, you haven't really gone to follow up. Make sure you do go to follow up. So what I like to do is, if you look in your DMs, in your messages, you'll see the person's name there. If you just slide it, you will see different options to either delete them or whatever. Hit the flag. And so what I'll do is I will go through maybe every weekend and I'll look at all the accounts that I've flagged, and I will go in and I'll just kind of check up on them, see what else they're doing in their DMs. Can I send them another one? Check up with them and see if there was something that we were talking about. How did that go for them? How things are going. That sort of an idea. Just be really conversational about it. Just be yourself, and just whatever you would say if you bumped into somebody at the supermarket that you met a couple weeks ago, do the same thing. What would you say back to them? How can you nurture that relationship? How can you continue that relationship? And that's what you would talk about. So stories are a really great way to grow your account. Stories are still shown in chronological order. Now, it used to be that your Instagram feed was shown like this too. First come, first serve. If you just posted, you'd show up at the top of your entire audience's feed. It doesn't work like that in the post, but for right now, stories still show up in that chronological order. This will probably eventually change, but for right now, that's the case. So you want to space out your stories. If you have about 4 or 5 ideas that you want to post today, spread them out. So maybe do one first thing in the morning, one around 11, one around 2, and maybe one around 6 o'clock at night. Because you're spacing those out, you're showing up at the front of people's stories feed all throughout the day. So you're constantly in their mind, especially if you have a very bold profile photo. They're seeing your photo every single time, or they're seeing your logo right at the front all the time. And so you will constantly be in their mind. Now, when you're showing up in these stories, you want to show things like the behind the scenes. What's going on in your daily life? Take people to the cafes that you're going to for meetings. Show them the products that you're making today. Show them what's coming up next week. If you're filming a series, show them the behind the scenes of that. Everything that's going on in your life, just bring them along with you. These do not have to be perfect. In fact, the less perfect they are, the more people like them. You can use filters if you want to. You don't have to. Showing up perfectly imperfect is the name of the game for stories. Your feed is curated and beautiful looking, and your story should reflect your everyday life. How you show up in the real world is exactly how you should show up there. And you can basically do anything that you want in stories. It's a lot of fun. So this one, I really recommend to just have fun with it and just go with it. Now, when you're doing your stories, you want to use your location tag. So if you go into the stickers function, you'll see the location, pop that in there. Use your hashtags. You have 10. You want to use the largest hashtags with the most amount of people posting on those. You can hide these under GIFs, so just make them a little bit smaller, still legible. Pop a GIF over top of it, pop them underneath your photo, and that way it doesn't look spammy. Leaving your location tag out is sometimes smart to be seen if you are at a specific place. Like, let's say I'm at a cafe and I really want people to know that I'm there. I will leave that one visible so people can see. But even if that's not the case and you don't really want people seeing where you are, still put your location in, just hide it. So when you're doing stories, you want people to still engage with these, but it's a little bit more tricky for people to comment. They know that when they comment, it's going directly to your DMs, and maybe they feel like what they're saying isn't really worth showing up in your DMs, so people just won't do anything. They'll just keep going. But you want people to stop and actually pay attention to what you're doing. So a really great way of doing this is to put in some interactive features. So polls is a really great one to use. It's a yes or no, or if you want to, you can do a heck yes and an absolutely, that sort of an idea, but it's just getting people to stop and actually interact with your stories. This can also work really well to get people to let you know what they're looking for. So maybe ask them what kind of content they'd like to see from you. Give them a couple options and then they can choose which one. See if they're interested in a certain workshop that you're thinking of putting together. Ask them if they would be interested in this new product that you're having, that's coming up, or if they want more information on a product that you've had for a long time and you're finding just isn't selling that well. Maybe it's that they don't understand how to use it. So just say, would you like more information? If they show up in the affirmative, so with a yes, then you would DM those people and you would give them a little bit more information. Maybe give them the link to where your workshop is being held or where they can get tickets. Anything that they need or that they've shown up and said, I need this, then you would DM them. Sometimes it would work that if they DM'd with a no, you would respond to them being like, hey, I know you're not interested in this. I just wanted to check out and find out why. Or could you give me a little bit more information on why the product didn't work for you or what negativity you had towards it? You want to do this in a very informative way where you're just looking for information, not in a, how could you not like this? So just keep that really light, but it's a great way to get feedback back from people that you can then use to maybe educate them more in your posts so that they understand the product so that you don't have this negativity coming down the road. When you're doing Instagram stories as well, you can show up with questions. So these are really great and I use them a lot for an ask me anything. So you're showing up and you're saying, hey, if you guys have been wondering anything about me personally, or if you have any questions about this latest product that I've come out with, let me know below. And then you can respond either through stories with just text, or you can record yourself giving the answers, or you can actually take all of those questions and really stretch them out into different posts in your feed if you're really having problems coming up with content idea. So it all depends on how in-depth you're asking this question or how interesting the comments or the questions actually are, but that's a really great way to get your audience involved as well. You also want to, for growth, is to follow certain hashtags. It'll save you time in the long run. So when you're doing your hashtag research, to start to reach out to different accounts in your field or people that you know are your target audience, you can actually save a hashtag and follow that hashtag as you're searching for it. It will be really, really easy for you to just naturally have those specific hashtags that you know are like really big players for you. They're going to show up naturally in your feed. So if there are days that you don't have a lot of time to go back and kind of search for them, they'll show up in your feed and you can just add that in really quickly. It's an awesome way to do that. So we've talked a little bit about DMs, and I'm going to stress here that DMs are the most powerful and underutilized feature on Instagram. DMs and shares are now what Instagram is really leaning towards in boosting your posts and to really give you bonus points for the algorithm. So the more DMs that you get and the more shares that you get are really helping your overall score. Especially with DMs, if I'm having a conversation with someone and I send them a message and they send me one back, automatically Instagram will be like, oh, they're friends. They really like each other. So I'm going to make sure that the next time person A posts, person B definitely gets it in their feed right away. So the more people that you're interacting with on a daily, weekly basis on DMs, the more people you're going to show up in the feed for when you post. So this is great for the algorithm. This is what it does. The algorithm notices it. It boosts you in that way. And it also really helps to convert your followers to sales because they are like, this person is my friend. If you're talking to them once a week, whatever, and you're really communicating in a much deeper level than you will on comments, and you are actually a part of the person's life, the person trusts you even more and they're going to want to be there for you. So when someone says to them, oh, I'm looking for X product, that person's going to be like, oh my gosh, you have to check out this person. They're amazing. They're great. Yes, definitely go there. So having that more personal relationship is great. It also works on a deeper level where you honestly enjoy being on the app a lot more. You're creating these amazing friendships with people, and it's such a greater journey than anything else. So creating those relationships on DMs is key. So with the DM, you can send a text message, you can send a photo, You can send a voice message. Now, these voice messages are up to 1 minute in length. So you want to make sure that you're kind of watching that because it'll just cut you off. So when you're actually doing a voice message, keep your eye on the little thing. When it stops, just kind of stop your conversation. It will send, and then you can start up another one if you have more to say. But if you're sending that first one, I do recommend keeping it within that 60 seconds so that it's a very concise message for them to check back with. If you're having 3 or 4 messages sent to as an introduction, you're kind of going to lose the person a little bit. You can also send a video to the person. So this is taking it that one step further. So if you're feeling like your hair is looking great that day and you're feeling good and you want to send a video to a prospective person that just started following you, that's awesome. It'll take it even that step further than the voice will. You can use a video chat, so you can actually chat with people back and forth on their DMs. This is really great for service-based businesses. If you want to actually do a consult on your Instagram account, you don't have to get their number. You don't have to set them up on a Zoom or anything like that. You can do it purely on your Instagram app. It makes it really quick. And you can also do group chats. So let's say you're setting up for a new workshop that's coming up. Maybe you want to include everybody in that group chat. You can do that, and then everyone knows what's going on. You can send out one message and everyone within the workshop gets it. So that's a really great way of creating a personal touch to that as well. So how DMs work for sales is you start off with messaging somebody that has just started following you, and that creates that awareness. You can also do this by you've watched one of their stories, you send them a message, so they've got that awareness of who you are. Then they respond back and you guys create that little bit of a connection. So they get to know you a little bit more, you've built the connection. When you continue this relationship and you continue to talk to the person, you're actually creating a brand loyalty. So they get to know who you are and they become loyal to you. So they're going to recommend you to a friend if somebody needs something that they know that you have within your service providing. The next thing that's going to do is you are going to build more leads. So let's say down the road, they don't really need your services or your product right now, but down the road, they're a warm lead. You can go back to them, check in with them again, and that will eventually create a sales funnel for you. So within this DMs, you're basically going from awareness, connection, brand loyalty, leads, and then finally sales. Another really great way to grow your following on Instagram is through collaborations. Now, collaborations are great to grow your audience in a very organic way. You can work with other accounts that are very similar to yours, and you can work with them to kind of have both of your audiences look the same. You can also work with other brands that are very different to yours, but have the same kind of audience or have the same target audience. So maybe you sell a makeup product and another account sells a hair product. You guys work together. Chances are you guys have the exact same audience or the exact same target market. And so by working together, you're going to both grow, and that will be a really great collaboration for you. It also creates a really great community, especially if you're working with other like-minded accounts. I know I've worked with other coaches before. We both are basically in competition, but there's so much out there that doesn't matter. It's creating that connection and that community so that down the road, if I have an issue with something, I've now created this really great relationship that I can go onto Instagram and have that support for. And it's absolutely fantastic, but also I'm building my audience through that and creating that system. So the kinds of collaborations that you can do are shout outs. So let's say you found somebody's account, and this is a really great way to get started. Maybe you found someone's account, they sell a different product, they have the same audience, or they're in the same industry as you, but you think that they're absolutely killing it on Instagram, or a quote that they put out is amazing. You might want to share that to your stories and really let people know that you think this account is amazing. Tell them to go check out their account or give them some information. That's a great way to kind of get started, to break that ice rather than just sending them a DM, which you can do too. But sometimes that's a little bit more of an organic way of doing it. Next thing is you could do a cross promotion post. So maybe they come onto your stories and take over your stories for the day, and you take over their stories for the day, and you have that kind of cross promotion. Maybe you guys switch products and they take your hair care and you take their makeup or whatever you're doing in that, and you're having that cross promotion. Maybe if you're both the same services, you create a post together and you both both post the exact same thing onto your feed. And there's that cross promotion as well. Finally, and probably one of the best ways to grow your audience through a collaboration would be to do a giveaway. So check out some local businesses in the area, ask them if they would like to donate a few of their items, and you're going to do this big giveaway. You ask whoever is wanting to win the gift basket to follow all of their accounts, follow your accounts. Maybe you're just going to do something small where you're giving away one of their products, that sort of a thing, and you're just doing a smaller giveaway, whatever. Giveaways really, really work. So I have been involved in 3 giveaways in the last few months, and my account has basically doubled. So it's really important to have that. People pay attention when they're getting free stuff. So it's just a fun way of doing that. But also, I have created some really great relationships by doing these giveaways with the businesses that I have worked for or worked with. So those collaborations are absolutely fantastic. Not only can they grow your account, but they really create that community feel for you. So when you're working with the collaborations, again, send them a DM, say hi, tell them what your idea is, maybe just introduce yourself, doing that cross promotion where you're putting a post up on their stories, letting people know about them, another really great way to talk to them. Now, the final way to grow, and it might seem extremely obvious, but it's worth mentioning, is another great way to grow your Instagram account is to advertise off of Instagram. So this will mean using your other platforms. So let's say you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, you're on Pinterest, whatever. Talk about your Instagram account on those other platforms and let people know that you are there, what your handle is, and that you post X, Y, and Z that you don't post on that other channel. Like follow my behind the scenes stories on Instagram for more up-to-date events that are happening. So really give them a reason to want to follow your Instagram. You can use it within your print marketing. So if you're printing out your business card, if you're doing a brochure, anything that you're doing there, make sure that you include your Instagram handle onto it. So then when people see that print marketing, they can then go into your Instagram and want to follow you there. You can put it onto your receipts or your invoices. So maybe at the end of the receipt that you print out, it has your handle. When you do your invoice, you can have that at the bottom. Let people know that if you want to see the behind the scenes or how things are going with your account, follow my Instagram and you can see that. You can talk about it in real life. So when you're talking to people, say to them, I'm on Instagram, I'm really active there, you should follow there. And then the final thing would be in your shop or your online store. So make sure that everywhere that people can find you, so if it's on your website, if it's right in your store, whatever, that your Instagram handle is somewhere so that they can follow you, and not only follow you, but make sure that they can tag you so that they can share their testimonials. That's why on your invoices and your receipts, it's so important, because if I really love something and I'm looking at the brochure that I got with the product or the receipt that I got and I can't see your Instagram handle, I'm not going to actually post that I loved your product. You want to really let people know that they can either use this hashtag if they loved it, or they can tag you at this. Just let them know that you're welcome to that and you'd really appreciate it. And it's amazing how just that little bit of a push will get people to do it a lot, and then you can share that content. So I hope this has helped you to figure out exactly how to grow your account in ways that maybe you hadn't thought about. If you don't want to post every day, that's fine. It's very overwhelming, but just make sure that you do actually show up on your feed show up in Instagram and on your stories as much as possible, at least daily. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope this has been helpful.